glisten and shine, you gon' need you some sunblock.
Yo, what is going on YouTube? Dope Reality here, back on our video. Before we get into the video, if you guys could please drop a like and subscribe, I really would appreciate that a lot. And turn on your post notifications so you get alerted when I post a video. I do daily 2K content, so every day you're gonna get a video from me. But pretty much in this video, I'm going over 3 builds I absolutely love on NBA 2K21 Next Gen. I did a current gen video yesterday, so I'll put a card on the top right now. Go watch that if you guys are more about that current gen, but this is for the next gen. So let's get right into the video. So of course, position wise, you got to go to power forward. This is the build that I made, like probably one of my first builds in power forward position. But for hand and jersey number, it really doesn't matter, whatever you want. Continue. And then for body settings, it has to be a 6'7". Then for weight, you're gonna go 222. Then wingspan, you're gonna go until you have a 7'3" wingspan, which is very good. And then body shapes, whatever you want, whatever you like, it doesn't really matter. Continue. And then for the attributes and stuff, I'll do them and then I'll explain them after. Alright, so this is what you get for the attributes and badges. You get 12 finishing, 10 shooting, 22 playmaking, and 26 defensive badges. The thing I absolutely love about this build is that its versatility to do pretty much everything. What's cool about this build is that it can pretty much run pick and roll because it has good enough strength, have brick wall Hall of Fame. It also has good enough defense to play on ball if you ever wanted to. Now it doesn't have any steal, but you really don't need steal to get stops. Of course, being able to get on ball steals is nice, but passing lanes wise, he's not horrible. He's not great, of course, but he's not horrible. You can still get them. But yeah, like defensively, he's very good. Interior defense, he's not gonna get banged on a bunch. And then playmaking wise, 22 playmaking, which is actually enough. And then what's really cool is that at 99 you get bullet passer Hall of Fame. That's like really cool. And then as shooting, you have 10 shooting badges. And a lot of you guys might be thinking this is not enough, but it actually is, because literally all I use on my 10 shooting badge build is Deep Threes Gold and the Hot Zone Hunter Hall of Fame. And I have like 3 more badge points on Hot Shot, but Hot Shot doesn't really help me shoot better, it just helps me get my takeover quicker. So realistically, all you need is 7 shooting badges to be a consistent shooter. And then finishing wise, you have 12 finishing, which is very good. You can get Slithery, Posterizer, and Heat Seeker, all Hall of Fame, and you should be good with that. But yeah, this build's super unique. I don't see very many of these out here right now on the park and stuff. And my build's not even exactly like this. If I can go back in time and remake it, I would make it just like this, because of one reason, because I didn't get Intimidator Hall of Fame. This build gets Intimidator Hall of Fame because I believe at 94 block, it allows you to unlock Intimidator Hall of Fame, and my block only gets to a 93 on my other build, so I did mess up on the build. But if I could go back in time, I'll definitely make it this way. So yeah, this is the build, very good. Let's get into the takeovers now. And then for takeovers, you have a bunch of options: slash, sharp, lock, and rim. And the one I like the most is going to be stuff blocks. I absolutely love stuff blocks. Now of course, for getting your badges and stuff, I think going just straight up double sharp is gonna be your best bet. But for like takeovers that I recommend personally, I think stuff blocks and then finishing moves gonna be your best bet. Those two are very good together. Getting stuff blocks just allows you to play so much better defense. It's so nice. But yeah, and then for the name, of course, you're gonna get a 2A scoring machine, and then it's a really cool build. You don't see too many of these. You have shades of Julius Randle, Pascal Siakam, and Chris Webber. Not the coolest shades of, but it is a very cool build and a build I recommend. So let's get into the second build. Alright, so now we're into the second build, and position, of course, is going to be a power forward. And then for the height, we're going to go 6'8". So we just went 6'7", now we're going to go 6'8". But 6'8", in my opinion, is really good because he's like a little bit better at defense. He still has really good shooting. Playmaking wise, he's very good. And then finishing wise, he's really good. And he gets a little bit more badges, not that many more, but he does get a little bit more. But yeah, weight 215, wingspan, in my opinion, is best at 7'2". Just because you can get Hall of Fame Hot Zone Hunter. But if you guys don't care about that, you can go a little bit longer. 7'4" is not bad, and then I think that's pretty much where you want to stop. 7'5" is not bad too, but if you're gonna go 7'5", you might as well go 7'6", because why not? You already have a long wingspan. But yeah, I think 7'2" is pretty much where you want to be. It'll only take you till 98 overall to get your pro dribble moves. You're also like a really good finisher. Shooting wise, you have an 85 3-point, which is very nice, and defensively you're still very good. So that's what I recommend, but you guys can go whatever you want. And then for the attributes, I'm gonna do them all and explain them after. Alright, so this is what you get for the attributes and badges. You get 17 finishing, which is very good, 13 shooting, 22 playmaking, and 25 defensive badges. So this build's really cool, very unique. It can literally do everything: ISO, shoot, spot up, finish at the rim very well. Has really good physicals. You can run pick and roll with it. It can play the center position. Now of course, it doesn't have interior defense, which isn't great, but it still is not that bad because you do have a high block, so there shouldn't be too much of a problem right there. But the badges and stuff, nuts, cracked out, super good. Highly recommend this build for anybody. Only downside to it, there's actually 2 downsides. The first downside is that it doesn't have interior defense, which isn't the end of the world. I'm sure a lot of people already don't have interior defense and don't really mind it. And then the second downside is that you do have to do a little bit of grinding because you do want that pro dribble moves at some point. So you get to at least 98 overall to get your pro dribble moves, which isn't the end of the world. Of course, you're still gonna have to grind out the build anyway, so it does hurt because you won't be able to be at its max potential for a little bit. But of course, once you do get it to its max potential, it's gonna be a freaking demon. But yeah, this build's super cool. Love it a lot. I have a build just like it. I just haven't played on it too much, but yeah, it's a really cool build, really fun. Again, I highly recommend it. But there's one more thing I want to talk about real quick: stamina. So stamina apparently is not very useful, but in my opinion and in my experiences, it is. And the reason I say that is because I have a 7'3" center who had like a 40 stamina, something like that. It wasn't very high, and this dude would be tired by like the second quarter. But if I use my power forward who has like a 90 something stamina, this dude does not get tired at all. Like, he never has to get a symbol, and also like he's just like a complete ice war. Like, he has the ball in his hands at all times. He's always dribbling, so he's always losing stamina, but he just loses stamina like way slower than my 7'3" does. So in my opinion, I think stamina is important. That's just my opinion though. So you guys can do whatever you want. If you guys like stamina, put it up. If you guys don't put it up. But in my opinion, I like it, and I'm gonna keep putting it up on all my builds, unless I'm playing like pro am and stuff where I'm gonna have like all the Gatorade possible. But for the most part, I think you should always have stamina, in my opinion, at least an 80. So yeah. And then for takeovers and stuff, you have a bunch of options. You have glass, lock, sharp, and slash. The one I personally recommend is going to be finishing moves at the 1, and then spot precision at the 2. Spot precision actually is not just for just catch and shoots. It's for anything that's to do with a standstill shot. So that's the one I recommend. But of course, once you max out all your badges, you can change it whenever you want. Then we're going to continue. And then for the name, you're going to get a playmaking 3-level score. Pretty common build. You see a bunch of these on the park. And what's cool, you get a Shades of Giannis. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, let's get into the last build. Alright, so then for the final build, we have a super unique one. Now, I don't think this build by any means comp, but it is still very cool. So you're gonna go center position. Then for body settings, you're gonna go 6'11" with a 215 weight. Wingspan, in my opinion, you might as well just go maxed out. And then body shape, in my opinion, I like slight, but you can go whatever you want. And then for the attributes and badges, I'm gonna do them all and explain them after. Alright, so this is what you get for the attributes and badges. You get 14 finishing, 9 shooting, 20 playmaking, and 26 defensive badges. What's really cool about this build is that it gets play take, which means it can actually like momentum and stuff at 6'11", which is nuts. The only downside to this build, I'm being 100% honest, is that it doesn't get deep threes. And now you don't really need deep threes as long as you have your hot zones. If you can put like hot zone 100 gold and then like stop and pop on gold, you should be able to somewhat shoot, especially if your teammate has floor general. But of course, you won't be able to spot up deep, and that kind of is a bummer, but it's not the end of the world. It's a really unique build. It's not meant to be comp. But yeah, like, you have a bunch of badges, and what's really cool about this build is that it can really just ISO. Now, this is the only build I would ever say you don't need stamina, because I just think stamina kind of hurts the build a little bit. But you really don't need stamina. If you just buy Gatorade, there's no reason why you really should need stamina, at least for park. Now for like rec and pro-am, now I don't recommend this build for pro-am, but if you guys want to use it, you guys can. But yeah, like stamina wise, if you have Gatorade and stuff, you should be fine. And most of the time in a park setting, you won't be using too much stamina, so you should be okay. But yeah, continue. And then for takeovers, personally, I think going just teams ratings boost as your first one, and then team takeover boost as your second one is literally the one you're gonna want to go with. And you continue. And then of course for the name, you're gonna get a post facilitator. Really cool build, super unique. Don't see too many of these out on the park, and pretty much you probably have never seen a build like this out on the park. But yeah, that's it for video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. Let me know if there's any cool builds out there, and peace.